Welcome to the Western Conference preview show of the 2026 NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. We have longtime friend of the program. He's the founder of NoFilter.net, where they have a lot of great content from Deuces Wilds with Eric Burns, Will Clark, and so much more. He's also a co-founder of another site called, I'm blanking on the name, but we'll restart
Streams.io. Yeah.
Streams.io. I'd like to welcome back to the show, Joe Manuele, our favorite Canadian. I will say that. Joe, how are we doing? And are you enjoying on the eve of the Stanley Cup playoffs? Are you excited for the
I am
playoffs to start?
I'm so excited, Trevor. I'm so excited. I mean, I think it's the best time of the year.
Yes.
Like it's like with all due respect to the NFL, and I'm a big NFL fan, as you know, a big Twins fan, but the first round of the NHL playoffs, every single day we have 3 or 4 games, going at one time, and every game is entertaining. And this season's a little bit different. Like, we've got some teams that we're expected to see that aren't there. And I saw an interesting stat. This is the first time in NHL history that neither the Rangers, the Islanders, or the Devils, there isn't a single team from New York or New Jersey or Long Island in the playoffs. I'm not sure how I feel about that because it's the biggest market in America. But yeah, like this is, you got some really fun teams. We're going to talk about a couple of them today, right?
Yep.
There's like and I'm from Montreal.
I'm not. Before I start off, I have the Canadians in 7, by the way, to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. I will say this: have you found flights yet to go to Tampa for this Montreal series? I have my friend's husband, huge Montreal Canadian fan, who's from Montreal that lives down here. He's already going to game 1 and 2, by the way.
So Tampa, Montreal in the first round is going to feel like a home game for the Habs.
Exactly.
It's cheaper to fly to Tampa and get a ticket than it is to try to get a ticket in Montreal.
Yes.
Right. Much cheaper. So, I feel like, no, I'm not. I don't feel the need to go in the first round. How's that?
That's how I feel too right now.
Yeah. I saw Montreal when they played. I went to Vegas when they played the Knights a couple of years back, and they lost to Tampa actually in the finals. It's the last time they made a run with Carey Price.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm quite worried about facing Vasilevsky. Like goaltending wins playoffs. He's the best goalie in the playoffs right now. So that, and then we lost the Habs lost Dobson to Leighton, so he's going to be gone for the first round. The highest paid player on the team, biggest free agent signing in the offseason, and he's not going to be around. But I love Marty St. Louis. I love what he's done up there. So I know we're not here to talk about the Habs, but
I give you the soapbox for the Habs anyways, anytime you're on the thing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
There's not many people in media that are Montreal Canadian fans, so I have to give that, like, you have the
I appreciate
that. Anyways.
Look, there's like a few young teams that have like a new mold, right? So Montreal, Buffalo's in that category. Utah and Anaheim, who we're going to talk about. No one's really talking too much about these guys, but it's a new breed of hockey, right?
Yeah.
And it like throw convention out the door. And then of course the Sharks, who came close but didn't quite make the playoffs. But Celebrini, as a 19-year-old that scored the last goal of the season, fittingly 45 goals, 108 points or whatever it was, right? There's a big buzz about how good the Sharks are going to be with this core youth movement. So yeah, there's a little bit of a passing of the guard, and Montreal is definitely up there with Suzuki and Hudson and Cole Caulfield scoring 51. So
I love how you forgot to mention Philadelphia, who's also starting to get the torch anyways. So
I wanted to give you that benefit, sir, because that's another team that no one's talking about.
No,
right?
We've talked about it in the podcast.
And it's not Broad Street bully, hockey, right? It's a youth movement. They've got some really impressive young kids. It's a fast game, right? And they play with some physicality, but it's not your Bobby Clark era Philadelphia.
This is not.
Flyers, right?
I go by. This is my era of Philadelphia Flyers. Like, it's not your Legion of Doom. It's not your John LeClaire, Jeremy Roenick, Tommy Almonte, the mercenaries union of Flyers hockey, which I grew up loving. By the way, it's not the Peter Forsberg, Darian Hatcher led the teams. It's not the Mike Richards, Jeff Carter, Chris Pronger, and Timo Timonen. This is
I went back in
and
time
I love it.
with Bobby Clark, right? I'm showing you how old I am.
Yeah. Then I just go, let me age myself at least, and I'll name Keith Greenwood at least. Anyways, flow the clip up, Trevor. Anyway, so
I love it.
That's why.
I love it.
So I'm excited for that. I am unfortunately, since the NHL like to be horrible at the scheduling, I cannot go to any of the games this year. So if they make it to round 2, we may have a chance at least. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's going to be fun. I also think there's going to be more upsets than we expect. But you know, there's two schools of thought. I think there's a couple of teams that rise above everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You get into this, if they stay healthy, you don't want to overthink it. But you can't overlook some of these young teams, man. Like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great hockey.
I think the other thing we can also say, some people are overlooking, as a TV guy, you have great Eastern Conference matchups leading into the Western Conference, which is perfect, by the way. The East Coast viewer is like the East Coast game, I will say, will help out the ratings this year because as I quote, I think what's his face said, someone from Philly said, there's markets that care in the Eastern Conference this year. And it's going to help. Like those markets that care will lead into the Western Conference markets that people care about as well. Anyway, so I'm excited.
Crazy storylines, right? Crazy storylines. Like the Battle of Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh and Philly. That's going to be incredible. And you got Carolina and Ottawa. You have the Tkachuk story with Ottawa and Carolina. Can they get the monkey off their back? Of being a great regular season team, but sucking in the playoffs. You got Tampa, Montreal.
Sabres.
Tampa, Montreal is a repeat of the last Stanley Cup final. That the last time a Canadian team made it to the Stanley Cup finals. Only 2 Canadian teams, by the way, qualified for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Or sorry, 3 with Ottawa. Sorry, I don't consider. I keep thinking about Ottawa, but no Vancouver, no Calgary, no Toronto Maple Leafs. Right? Like,
can we laugh at Toronto? Can we laugh at Toronto before we really start the Western?
Let's laugh at Toronto. Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's perfect if they hire Chuck Fletcher as their next GM. I'm going to say this: the Flyers better find that app that Chuck Fletcher has that he was talking about when he was the GM for the Flyers. Figure out the value for Austin Matthews. Throw the trade that way. If Chuck Fletcher accepts it, I'm going to be so happy to get Austin Matthews in the orange and the black.
So there's a rumor. I mean, like, you're trying to get an Eric Lindros repeat, right?
I think someone better than Eric Lindros, at least with no concussions, at least.
Yeah, Lindros without the concussions. Austin Matthews hasn't been the same since his last weird injury that he had. I mean, like, he scored 70 in the season, right? Like after that injury, he hasn't really bounced back. But Philly is a destination. San Jose has been talked about, right?
I think he wants to go to a quiet market. That's the thing.
I could see him in a quiet. He's not a big city guy, right? Like I think he'd get crushed in Philly, honestly, right? Like, the expectations are pretty high. And
would he get crushed? Yes. Would he get prized? Yes. I think it's a die in the sword. Like, how do you respond, anyways? I think he's going to go to a quiet market, anyways. If he goes to Philly, Mazel Tov, anyways. To my friends.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But
all right. Let's talk about this Western. Yeah, he definitely did. Him and Nylander too. Both those two, anyways.
Yes.
Right. Western Conference. I like to say this. I think the Central Division does have the best matchups, by the way. Than the Pacific Division. Unless you want youth and fun. I think my favorite matchup, that's not Stars Wild. I like Avs Kings. I just feel like it'll be either a bloodbath or it could be really competitive anyways. What do you think, by the way?
So Colorado, and I got like my Avalanche jersey on here for you, right?
Yes.
So this one falls in the don't overthink it category.
Yes.
Like the Avalanche are so good. So they're so deep. They're on a mission. They started the season before the Stanley Cup. Sorry, before the Olympic break. Running away with it, but clearly the President's Cup trophy winner. Like, we knew this in January, right? Like they were so far ahead of everybody else. This combination of Makar and McKinnon and the way they're playing is next level. The depth of this organization is crazy. Don't overthink this one. Avs in 5. I'm going to say the Kings are going to win one. They're a defensive team. Maybe they'll win they'll get a few bounces here and there. Win an overtime game, 2-1 or something, with a goalie standing on their head.
I see it's going 6 at least, anyways.
I don't know. I don't know that it's going to be that close. I think the Avs know that
they can't.
If you're going to win the Stanley Cup, you can't go 7 games in the first round. Like, I think they've been here enough to know that you need to crush teams in the first couple of rounds and then get ready for the battle, which could be the Oilers, right? Like, that's going to be your battle to get to the finals, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you're playing 7 games in the first round, you're in trouble, right? So I just don't see enough with the Kings to stay competitive. The depth of the Avalanche. This is like, don't overthink it. Avs in 5, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's in 4.
Either one. I want at least 6 games out of it. That's why. I just think it'll be entertaining.
I think you might be disappointed. Like,
that's fine.
I know there's a Kings angle for you, but
no, here's a Kings angle for me. I just want another West Coast late night game to watch, anyways, in case there's like, if you're gonna put 2 Western Conference games, like you're gonna have Minnesota and Dallas at 7:30. I would like another late night game to watch when I get home from work, anyway. So I can just pop on my couch, pop a beer open. That's how I view this stuff.
I'm with you.
I need at least that series to go 6 so I can at least watch something after work, anyways.
I got you.
I think the biggest thing is they've been splitting the goalie on there. I also go by this. That President's Trophy Cup is cursed. I don't know what they need to do. Have they saged it? That's my question. Has the Avs saged it or puts through holy water on it, you think?
I think that the curse is real.
Yes.
Right. But what you find is the teams that have this curse are the teams that are like in a battle down to the last game on who's going to, this was over, like I said, in January. Like,
we said,
I think the Avalanche posted into the playoffs because they didn't have to do anything crazy, right? And they're rested, they're healthy, they're a veteran team, they've been here before. Joe Sakic is like you got some veteran leadership, right? Like, this is a strategy here. There's one mission here, right? And the President's Trophy, like, honestly, I don't think they care one way or another. They were just they were demolishing teams. Like at the beginning of the season, the first 40, 50 games, like it wasn't even close. No. I've never seen anything like this, Trev.
The funny, I saw them lose once. It was off a back-to-back when they played Carolina on a Saturday night. They played Florida on a Sunday. They lost. I was like, oh shit, that's the red flag to me, anyways. So,
and it was a close game, right? Yeah,
it was a 2-1 game anyway. So
right, and the other thing you have is because of the Olympic break, we saw a lot of games, right? There's teams playing 5 games in 7 days, like, which we've never seen before.
4 6 nights.
And because the Avs had the ability to cruise into the playoffs and they're rested and they're relatively speaking, they haven't had to turn it up. I think that works to their advantage. Sometimes you don't want to sleep going into the playoffs, and the Kings have to fight for a spot right down to the end, and like the Flyers, right? Like their teams.
Hey, we put you the second to last day anyway, so at least they got a day off at least anyway. So I go by
game 81, right? Yeah.
Game 81 at least.
Sometimes that momentum works to your advantage, but in this case, I think the Avs are like, they see the big picture here. I like the Avs in 5. I'm going to go 5.
All right, I'm writing these down on paper, by the way, of all the stuff I have. So
I love it.
There's a lot of papers of like predictions on here. I have Duncan Dad's, Jake Rietma's, Kevin Majori from 98.5 The Sports Hub, and everything, and also Barstool.
I love it.
We do a star-studded cast for these NHL playoff preview shows, and people's like, "Who do you have on?" We have a star-studded cast anyway, so
we should have like a recap show. Yeah, I'll do it on No Filter. Sounds good.
Hey, let me know anyway. I'll have my people call your people. It's like, oh wait, I'm talking to you anyways. We're good anyways. You're talking to.
I know a guy, Trev. I know a guy.
We know a few guys, anyways. All right, Avs in 5, Avs in 6 for me. I just like hockey. That's why. All right, Stars. Wow, this has been pretty much been made since January. The Stars are. This feels like the Stars and like whoever. It feels like the old Bruins Leaf series almost. How they always played every year, but like the Stars find a way to win.
Montreal, Boston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My big thing with the Stars is they're kind of injured up right now. So no rope hits for the first 2 games. I don't know what's going on with Miro Heiskanen right now. That's just me. And also, how's Jake Ottinger going to respond to all the criticism that he had last year from Pete DeBoer? How's he going to do an encore? Is he going to shut the haters up, as Rick Tocchet would say to people?
Yeah. So look, these 2 teams Minnesota won 46 games this season. They're legit. And this is going to go 6 or 7.
I think 7.
Either way, right? I have them in 7 as well. I like the Wild. This is my first upset. I like the Wild because of the injuries, right? Like you kind of called it. Heiskanen is like lower body issue. We don't really know what that means. And then missing, like having
Rope first 2 games is a big thing.
Without roping the first 2 at least, and then he's going to come back in game 3. How healthy? You got 2 key players who are, when they do play, are going to be banged up. Now, if you're
Dallas,
if you're looking at it from Dallas's perspective, you're thinking, okay, well, win one out of 2, right? Like let's win at least 1. But if they go down 2-0, that's going to be tough, right?
Oh yeah,
for them to come back, and then. The Wild are like, look,
you're due.
I won't be shocked. I won't be shocked if Dallas wins in 6 or 7, right? But this is going to be a fun one. It's like you said, there's a lot of history between these 2 teams. I look at the injuries. I look at how hot teams are going into the series, right? Right now, the Wild are playing their best hockey. They're consistent. They're deep. These teams know each other. So what separates the 2 teams? It's the injuries to the key players from Dallas, and I got to give the edge to the Wild because of that. So I'm going to go Wild in 7.
I'm going to say Stars in 7. They came in with nice wins over Buffalo, even though they blew out. They came down. They beat Toronto when they were down 3-0. That was a nice win to have. I think that it's going to be a high-scoring game. Their last game they played was on the 9th of April. It was a 5-4 game anyways. Pepe's corner, I like to say, we may have to take some overs or maybe some unders, by the way. So depends what we're looking like.
Well, that's fascinating too. Like I saw the other stat I saw is this is the year where you've had the least number of goalies that had save percentages over 900.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyways, are we
back to the wild? And like
we're back to the dead goalie area.
Playoff goaltending, is like it's one of the. I look at a few key factors. Health of the organization, how hot they are going in, and then who their goalies. Right. And will you be able to ride a goalie into the playoffs? And then if you look at it, other than Vasilevsky, who can make a huge difference in Tampa, I don't see one team, where the goalie is the determining factor here. I think the goalies just need to not fuck up. And I agree with you. These are not going to be 2-1 games. No. Right? Like there's going to be some 5-4 games, and which is going to make it fun.
I think it's really depends who Minnesota's going to start. You're going to start Philip Gustafsson or Jesper Wallstedt at least. That's the real question.
Well, the other thing that's interesting about the NHL in this era is there's no goalies that play more than 50 games, right?
No, they split it all.
Everybody has a 2 goalie system nowadays.
Yeah.
And then you go into the playoffs, and in the playoffs it's different. You want to ride your hot goalie, right?
Yeah.
Unless a goalie has a bad day, then you switch back and forth, and that's not good either, right? So
I've seen that in my life a few times anyways.
You have a situation where, like if Vasilevsky has a bad game, do you go to the backup goalie?
No, you roll Vasilevsky back out.
Right? But then there's other teams where, if each goalie played 40, 45 games, and you could flip back and forth, and then you ride the hot. Like I've never seen that work out. I've never seen like a tandem goaltending, team win the Stanley Cup. So
like Boston tried to do it in 2023 and it failed miserably. They were up 3-1 and they lost it anyways.
Exactly. Right. So and it's hard to switch out your goalie. But the cool thing is they don't play back to back, so they typically they won't, right? So there's that rest in between, and they have time to get ready in between. So
definitely, I think this is gonna be a wild. This is gonna be a wild series. I think both crowds will be lit anyways. Especially I think that Minnesota crowd's gonna be on fire. It's gonna be on fire crowd.
Oh yeah.
And I think the Dallas crowd will be as well. And I think that'll be a fun atmosphere as well. Also, Quinn Hughes, what's he gonna do for an encore since he had a great Olympics? What's his encore for the Stanley Cup playoffs, especially versus Dallas? That's another big thing we got to talk about.
Yeah, the Hughes brothers are obviously right up there with the Kachucks, and the U.S. winning the gold medal was a highlight. I mean, there's 2 ways to look at that, right? You can look at that and say they had their moment, right? Yeah. Look, the difference between the Stanley Cup and the gold medal in the Olympics is you got to win 16 games.
Exactly.
To win a Stanley Cup. you only need to win one game to win a gold medal, right?
Oh,
like,
I know that, but I want to know how we're gonna get the casual fans. Are people going to casually watch the Stars at Wild? Is it Quinn Hughes? I hope so, at least.
Sure. Know? Yeah. Like JR and I talked about this. I remember he called me to give him, like basically to grind me a little bit because I was obviously cheering for Team Canada. And JR was telling me he was in an airport in Canada watching the game and stuff. And he's like, "How you doing?" And I said, "Look, I'm happy for the game.
Yes.
Like, I'm so happy for the game. Like, it's everyone's talking hockey in the U.S. That's freaking amazing. Like, I'll
almost everywhere."
So, yeah, no, but even in everywhere. Like, honestly, like it was in the news, good, bad, or indifferent. Like, people talked about both Team USA teams, Canada, the girls and the men. So yeah. If it gets more people to watch, great. And they're gonna watch. They're gonna have some amazing series to watch if that's what it is, right? So, and again, like non-traditional markets, like Minnesota and Dallas are traditional markets, but we'll talk a little bit about the Mammoth getting their first playoff appearance in Salt Lake. Like, how exciting is that, right? Anaheim making the playoffs, right? So
for the first time in forever.
Exactly, in such a long time. Not non-traditional hockey markets are with some young, exciting teams. So,
what do you think of Kirill Kaprizov?
I mean, in what context? Like
do you think? I'd say this is as my joke, but I really mean he's my favorite Russian. Anyways, probably one of my young Russian that wants to score goals, which I feel like we haven't seen.
It's not Michkov.
Well, he's my lazy Russian. That's why it's my lazy Russian. I say. And I people look
lazy. Man, that kid's got hands though, bro. He's got hands.
Like, I love Kirill Kaprizov. He's that one, like if there's one Russian I like that's non like Michkov, I say Kirill Kaprizov because he's box office at least. And I think this is gonna be a standout series for him to be on television. Because only the hockey casuals like me and you, we love Kirill Kaprizov. I want everyone to know like this dude is legit,
Yeah, look, this is the one thing I didn't like about the Olympics is not having Russia, compete because, in Montreal we've got Demidov, who's like, they call him the demigod now.
Yes,
like, which they sign out of the KHL, and he scores like 20 goals this season, which is amazing, right? Or 19. I'm not sure he got his 20th, but he had 19, 20 goals. Like there's like Ovi, doing Ovi things, right? Like what a season he had.
Yep.
Like there's a bunch of great young Russian talent that nobody has gotten to see because of the ban, right? So, so this gives them a venue. And look, you bring up something that's interesting. If you didn't make it to the Olympics and you didn't have to go to the Olympics, right? Yeah. That's an advantage. So that does that hurt like a Makar and a McKinnon and a McDavid and a Draisaitl? The guys who had to go, and does the Russians who didn't have to go to the Olympics, they got to chill, they got to reset, and they're coming in fresher, right? So that could be an X factor. That's a good point.
Yeah, shout out to all my Russians, by the way. Shout out to my Russians.
Shout out to the Russians. Yeah, I'll wear my Russian hockey jersey at the next pod there, Trev.
I got that's one thing I don't have right now. I've been trying to find a nice Russian hockey jersey. It's impossible to find one, anyways. With shipping it these days, anyways.
It's tough to find one, I would think. Yeah,
yeah. Maybe I can find a Ryan Whitney KHL jersey. Maybe that would help at least. Maybe they could give me free shipping on that. Probably will.
Nice.
Bill Guerin, what's your thoughts on him as GM so far and an executive for the Wild? I think he's done an incredible job, by the way. Especially,
I think he's incredible. I mean, look, my issue with Bill Guerin is as GM of the Team USA team, he kept Cole Caulfield off the team. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Right? The guy leads the league in overtime goals. He is Mr. Clutch. He scored 51 goals this season, not a single empty net goal. Think about that. Not one empty net goal. Right?
JR would like that, by the way. JR would like, or
I know he would. And on the first line power play with the Habs, and Habs have like top 3, top 4 power play in the league. How do you keep a guy like that off the lineup? And so I get that he's old school. He won the gold medal, so you can't argue with that, right? But he got away with this. Like if they lost that game in overtime, not having a guy like Cole Caulfield on,
or Jason Robertson too,
playing in OT, exactly, right? So or Lane Hudson, right? Like we got a great young. So Canada puts Celebrini on. At least it gets you ready for the next generation. You give him some reps, right? But So okay, I'll get off my my Cole Caulfield mantle. So yeah, he's done a great job, and so he's an old school guy. He's going to roll out 4 lines. He's built the team for the playoffs. They're going to be defensive first. Don't make mistakes. They're not going to give you anything 5-on-5, and this will come down to special teams. And this is where the injuries to Dallas comes into play, right?
Exactly.
Like this is where like the power play and the PK are where you're going to win and lose a series. And losing or not having your top 2 players potentially 100%, even if they do play, not having them 100%. That's these teams are so close that it boils down to that, right?
I also like the Wild's depth, by the way, too. They got the Nick Foligno from
100%.
Chicago. That's a good. That's a good.
That's what I'm
saying. Excited to see 2
Garen,
Foligno brothers play, anyways, in hockey. It's good.
Garen built the Wild the way he built the Team USA team. It's deep. You could roll out 4 lines. There's no, you don't have any issue putting any of these players out. The matchups don't matter, So, but yeah, I'm not a fan of Garen because of keeping Caulfield off the lineup.
Hey,
right?
hey, I can't blame you anyways, but
I get it. He won, so you can't. Yeah. He won the gold.
He won the gold medal, so we all have to shut up and all right, you're God.
He had one job.
You had one job. We'll talk to you. We will rework the roster in 4 years. How about that?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Pacific Division. Let's do Vegas, Utah. I think this is kind of an interesting series. So I want to know your thoughts on Vegas firing Bruce Cassidy and they bring in John Tortorella. I want to first go with you on that one, by the way. I'm shocked he got another job anyways.
Torts getting hired this late in the season made no sense at all.
It reminds me of a coach getting fired that you can remember, by the way. Do you remember a coach getting fired for this? If a new guy coming in, do you remember a team doing that?
This late in the season? I mean, the interesting thing is the Islanders fired Patrick Roy. Like same thing
on Easter Sunday of all times.
On Easter Sunday, yeah, exactly. So, and I thought Raw was doing well, and then of course the Islanders did not respond the way Vegas did.
Mm-hmm.
So look, Torts getting hired. I don't know. Something must have happened. They felt they needed a shot in the arm or something, so they bring him in. That gives you your short term boost.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, I get it, and the players responded, but I don't know. Guys like that. I'm with you.
Could he last? Could he last next? Do you think they're going to bring him in? Because I don't think they are.
Well,
I think it's just a short-term thing.
So I think a lot of it depends on how he does in the playoffs. And I have the Mammoth winning in 6.
Ooh.
I'm going to call this. This is going to be like the big upset in the first round of the playoffs. And I'll tell you why. We talked about how the goaltending hasn't been great across the NHL this season from a statistic perspective, but
yes,
the largest number of goals allowed above expected, right? There's all kinds of fantastic stats out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the Las Vegas Knights have allowed the most number of goals above expected. So I expect you to allow, 3 goals a game and you're allowing 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
And goaltending matters in the playoffs. I'm sorry.
Yes.
And I know that Aiden Hill, has a cup, and I actually I have a Stanley Cup autographed jersey. Actually, I randomly won at a card
there we
break,
go,
which is a different story. But yeah, like that's not going to cut it for me. And then people are sleeping on the Mammoth. Like,
yeah.
They are they're basically a young upstart that they have this youth movement. They're super fast, a lot built like this young generation of teams like Montreal, like Philly, like the Ducks to a certain degree. The Ducks are a little bit bigger, but they're a fun, fast team. And then you're playing against an organization that, Vegas is basically built for the playoffs, but is Mitch Marner really the guy who's going to get you over the top? Like, give me a break. Give me a break. The guy who did nothing in Toronto, right? And now, it would be the ultimate irony if Marner goes off and gets on a run with Vegas, right? For Leaf fans,
it'll be like Jack Eichel going on a run with Vegas and he sticks it to Buffalo fans. I like that.
Exactly.
I like that storyline. I like it.
Exactly. Right.
This is why we have Joe Manuel on. He brings stuff that no one really talks about. That's why.
Eichel, is not Mitch Marner though.
No, that's the difference. Anyway.
He's not a playoff guy. He's a regular season guy. He's going to score his 40 goals or whatever, right? So, but yeah, I like the Mammoth. And I'm going to point to two things. One is the goaltending situation. You can't. It's uncertain. It's a mess. You need to figure that shit out. And the Torts situation. You bring this guy in, and come on, this doesn't work. He's gonna. I just have this vision of them losing the first game, and having a fit, in front of the press, calling players out. And maybe that shit worked in the 80s. It doesn't work now, man. It's not maybe the 80s. It's not that old, 90s, whatever.
Let's say this: that worked back when the 2-line pass was still in play. Anyways, how about that?
Yes, exactly. Right.
Back when JR was playing, it worked. Not now, anyways.
Exactly. And the reality is the players are making so much money. Marner's making $11 million a year. Do you think he gives a shit if he gets called out by Torts? Who's
no.
And if Torts, they all know if they get eliminated in the first round, he's not going to be there next year, right?
It feels like remember when Robbie Ftorek got fired for the Devils?
Ftorek, yeah.
Yes, he threw the bench on the ice and he got fired right after. And Larry Murphy came in and won and won the Stanley Cup with the Devils that year.
This is not that situation.
It's not. It's people were feeling like who, and I mentioned that one, and people looked at me like Robbie Ftorek. Nobody knew who it was. It's you don't know puck. I said,
I know Robbie Ftorek when he played for the Quebec Nordiques. Yes. I know Robbie Ftorek is, bro.
Yes, Robbie Ftorek at least.
He had that funky helmet too, almost like a Butch Goring style helmet, right? Yeah.
That's true. I have Vegas in 7. I think this is going to go 7 games at least. I think this is going to overtime, and I have Vegas winning this. But I would not mind seeing Utah upset the Vegas Golden Knights just for good storylines with the NHL.
So,
anyways.
Yeah, first of all, if you look across the NHL, Buffalo, Montreal, Philadelphia, Utah, there's 4 or 5 teams that are there that are playing different hockey, young, fast hockey. So then you say, okay, who are they playing against? Who's vulnerable that can fall to a team like that? And Vegas is vulnerable right now. Their goaltending has been horrendous all year.
Yep.
And the coaching situation, I'm not a Torts fan, so
I have them winning because I just think it'll be so funny that Vegas goes up to play Edmonton or the Ducks, and I just think it'll be so funny. Then they crash and burn it. So I'm looking at the long play at least.
To see in the next round, but I'm
at the long play game of this series.
I want to see Vegas losing the first round and Torts getting fired. Is what I want to see.
All right, if Torts does
again, right? Yeah.
At least it'd be funny if he gets fired on the tarmac at the Utah at Salt Lake City Airport. Anyways, that would be
amazing.
All right, if that does happen, if Torts gets fired, who's the best available coach? Would you say would take this job? You think?
Let me be a little bit of a devil's advocate here. I think Patrick Roy gets another gig. I don't know what happened in New York, right? And
where's Lou Lamoriello when you need him? I want these stories out, really.
Right? I want to see the story. I got to maybe ping JR, see if he knows what happened. But I'm a big fan of St. Patty, right? And he's if you think you need to have a coach who's a little bit unconventional, man, he was pulling goalies down by 2 with 6 minutes left in a game. He started this trend. People are pulling goalies now with 3 minutes left down a goal. He's the first guy to do that, right?
He did it in Colorado, anyways. He's an innovator. He knew some stats, anyways.
100%. And he had tremendous success in the minors, in the Quebec junior leagues before he became a professional coach. He was doing great in Long Island. And I don't know what happened. I mean, they fought till the end. And, I think there was a little bit of a revolt with the players. And that's okay. That's fine. And then so they pulled the same stunt that they did in Vegas. Vegas got away with it. The Islanders did not. And you figured out, okay, it wasn't Patrick.
No.
Because if the Islanders make the playoffs, then you could say, okay, maybe it was Patrick Roy's fault, right? But the fact that they stunk it up, it's oh, shit. He's a pretty good coach. So Patrick Roy to Vegas is my prediction.
I was ready for. I was ready for Pete DeBoer to take the Toronto job whenever Craig Berube would get fired.
Yeah,
because it'd be so effing hilarious, and like seeing the Toronto media be like,
"Dude,
what are you gonna do with Game 7?" Like and he'll say like, "I win Game 7s, trust me." And then they lose, and the thing is, when you lose at Game 7, everyone go nuts anyways.
So I made this argument at the beginning of the season to all my Leaf fan friends, and I said, "You had a window." And that window is shut.
It's slam shut like a sliding glass
door.
door.
No way. We have another couple of years. Like, no. When John Tavares is your number one scorer, points getter, you got a problem. And Tavares, by the way, is a solid player, right?
Yeah,
I'd have him on my team every day of the week. But trade Matthews, rebuild, come see me in 5 years.
Quick question. I asked this to my buddy Kevin Major, Bruins fan. Would you rather have the shutdown defenseman like Victor Hedman, or would you rather have John Tavares?
Oh, shutdown defenseman.
Thank you.
100%.
He said like the forward would be nice, but like I rather have the forward than the defenseman. Like,
I mean, Tavares is a great two-way center. He's a depth center. He's a third-line center now because of his age, right?
Like back then, I was like, he was like your first-line center. It's like I want the shutdown defenseman you can build out.
Yeah. They had Matthews and Kadri, down the middle. You don't need the Tavares. Like what? What are you doing? You need like a freaking, like when Montreal made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, they got Shea Weber. Yeah. Right. And Shea Weber with Patrick Roy, they knew like, okay, I need a solid guy in front of Patty and in front of Price. Yeah. And Price.
You think of Eric Desjardins, by the way. Eric
Desjardins for sure. Another former Montreal Canadian / Flyer.
Hey,
right? That kind of guy, and of course, and this is what Toronto has never had, that guy. And that's what I'm saying. Like, why are you building down? Like, who cares that your third line center could be a first line center for most teams? And you got there's no differentiation between a top pair defenseman and a third pair defenseman, like in Toronto, right? Like it's, They the last great defenseman in Toronto was Boreas Salming, right? Like,
God,
bro, like you got to go way back in time. Like I can't think of anyone in between them.
I'm thinking of defensemen from Toronto who are way past their primes when they're playing them. You're gonna laugh. Brian Leach was on those teams towards the end of the lockout. Before the lockout, but Brian McCabe was on that team. He was the whipping boy.
Okay. Yeah,
he was the whipping boy though.
Leach though was
towards the end.
It was towards the end of his career. Yeah, his prime was in New York, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm trying to.
You don't need a 34-year-old guy, right? You need anyway. So to your point, Hedman, 100%. I would have gone Hedman.
Okay.
Like
we had that conversation. I wanted your opinion on that too, by the way, because we talk hockey on the show anyway.
Dude, so. I love that we're talking Western Conference playoffs and we get to shit on Toronto while we're at it. So
wait till Chuck Fletcher comes. We're gonna find that app anyways. He used anyways.
I don't see that, bro.
I think it will. I think something young and dumb is gonna happen in Toronto, and we will.
That's fair. But
trust me. All right, let's talk about Oilers, Doug. But first, as us viewing pleasures, freedom. From Oilers Kings for the first time in forever, by the way. Thank God.
Yeah.
We got new blood, and this is a playoff rivalry rematch from the 2006 Western Conference Finals. How about that?
Back in the day, right? Yes. So
this is the Chris Pronger off, I'll call it.
So I, based on my criteria, look, okay, we talked a little bit about what we want to see, right?
Yes.
I want to see the Edmonton Oilers play the Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference Finals.
Yes.
We all want to see that, right?
We all want that, yes.
Like McKinnon versus McJesus, it's going to be so incredible, right? Draisaitl and Makar and but it's basically a bunch of Team Canada guys playing against each other. But there's a few things. I love the way the Oilers are going into the playoffs. They have a little bit of mo, right? They're playing with energy. They're playing with mission, right? The two guys that get most upset for not winning a cup are McKinnon and McDavid, right? They get so upset, right? And so I think they're both going into it recognizing that they're in their prime and they have to win it, right? Now, if you're with the Oilers, remember McDavid signed his contract. He signed a 2-year deal.
Yes.
That's it.
Feels very LeBronish to Miami thing, I'm gonna say.
He defined the window.
Yes.
Right? This is the window. It's here and it's right now. So he's gonna go all out and do, McDavid things. My concern is goaltending with the Oilers.
Thank you. I can't trust Tristan Jarry or the other guy. I can't.
No, right? And the and Ingram, I guess, is the other goalie, right?
Yes.
So Ingram will probably get the start. And this is going to be one of these goaltending freaking carousels where they're going to go back and forth until they figure it out.
It's going to be like Rochambeau almost. Who's going to start?
Whack-a-mole, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be Rochambeau between the head coach and the goalie coach. Like rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I think one guy gets knocked, the other guy pops up. He's going to get knocked, the other pops up, right? Yes. But I think and JR. So we had Joel Kenville on No Filter with JR.
Yes.
And one of the best shows, by the way, right? Like really, really great episode. Find it's on our YouTube channel if you want to go dig it up and check it out. And Kenville is having a little bit of a resurgence. So he's like, hey, I'm flying out. Like it's like a semi-retirement job for the guy, right? He's like, I get to go to Anaheim. I go to restaurants. Nobody knows who I am. I got the family down here living close.
He gets to go to the horse track and race. He gets to bet the ponies at least.
He bets the ponies. He's like,
he chose two good places to live anyways. Florida, when you can go to Gulfstream Park down the street from Sunrise. Now you've got the Breeders' Cup at least.
And the team, so I started to pay attention to the Ducks after that pod, and they are also this super young, fast team, but they're a little bit bigger than the Habs and the Flyers. Like they have some power forwards
size
there, right? They have size and youth, and so I don't
with experience on the back end though.
100%. Like don't sleep on the Ducks. Now that being said, there's too much talent on the Oilers side.
Yes.
Right. But don't be shocked if this goes 6 or 7. So I'm going to go Oilers in 6. I think the Ducks are going to win a couple. But dude, this is going to be some fun hockey.
Yes.
And there's a few teams that are going to. So I mean, I'm looking at the West, when you sent me the invite and I did a little research on this stuff and I'm looking at these games. I'm like, wow, okay. So, and then across the whole schedule, actually, right?
Yes.
Does Buffalo beat Boston?
No,
right?
I have Boston.
Does Montreal beat Tampa?
Yes, in my book.
Do the Mammoth, win, and do the Ducks beat the Oilers? And there's going to be a couple of those upsets, right? Do the Flyers beat the Penguins? And so, if you're going to talk about a subplot to this conference, it's this youth movement, versus these veteran teams that haven't evolved, right? And so, and I don't know that all the young teams are going to win, but you're going to get some really incredible playoff experience if you're the Ducks. And then next year they're going to get even better, right?
Yeah.
And I think Utah has got enough to beat Vegas, just because of the goaltending situation. I think, I would love to see Montreal pull it off against Tampa. And we've played them great during the regular season. But, it was interesting because the way you coach against these young, fast teams is different. You can throw
swarm at them,
out the window. And Schroeder, who's the defenseman for the Islanders, right? Kid's amazing, but he's
Schaefer.
Schaefer. He's playing a fourth offensive wingman. He's not playing like a defenseman, right? And so same thing with Leighton Hudson, right? So how does that translate into the playoffs is the big question, I think, right? And this is what we're going to see. So anyway, if you look at it, I think I just think the Oilers, there's this 2-year window, and I can't see anyone but the Avalanche and the Oilers making it to the conference finals in the West.
Okay.
And that's going to be so freaking epic. Every minute of that series is going to be epic.
Definitely. I have the Oilers in 7. Here's why.
Not shocked by that. Yeah, I'm with.
I like Dostal to steal a couple games for Edmonton at least. I think he's going to for Anaheim. I think he's got something, and I saw him live. Like he has his moments. He does look like a cone out there, but he makes a save that he has his game. I'll say that.
I also see, like a game where maybe the Oilers are up 4-2 going into the third and they lose 5-4 because the goalie, shits the bed. Right?
Exactly.
So there's a goalie story where the goalie might win a game for you. The real question is, how many games does goaltending cost you a game? Like in Vegas, right? Like how many, like in a close game, who's going to let that softie in, right? That lets you lose that game. So yeah. And again, there's nobody other than, the Tampa situation with Vasilevsky. I don't see any goaltender right now. I can't make a prediction, say this goalie is going to go win a series for you, but there's always one that emerges, right?
You have Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood in Colorado. You have Jesper Wallstedt and the other guy I can't think of. The other guy from Minnesota. You have Ottinger in Dallas.
Yeah.
Utah, I don't know who their goalie is, but it's Aiden Hill for Vegas. Dostal or Tristan Jarry. Dostal is for Anaheim, and you have Tristan Jarry and Connor Ingram for Edmonton. Anyways, I just think you have a lot of question marks in who's going to show up at least anyways. In LA, you have Darcy Kemper, who's won a cup anyways with Colorado.
Someone will emerge, right?
Yes.
So Anaheim, sorry, not
Utah.
Utah. I was looking at Dostal in Anaheim, solid goalie, but nothing that'll blow you away. Utah has Vechmelka.
And you have Vitek Vanacek. I actually like that combo.
So and Vanacek, yeah. So, but Vechmelka's played 64 games. Like he's the number one goalie. Like he's played 3 out of every 4 games, right? And solid stats, 3 shutouts, 275 goals against average, but 897 save percentage, right?
Yeah.
Again, so we're seeing more goals scored with less shots, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And the game's changed a little bit for the better. I think it's great.
This is my question for Vegas. Do we see Carter Harkins in play?
I wouldn't put anything past Torts.
That's the answer I was looking for, right? Anyways.
I wouldn't put anything past the guy. So the real question is, if Vegas goes down 2-0, the panic will set in, and the fires will start, and Torts will be torching shit down, and that's what I want to see.
I hear you. Joe, what's going on with No Filter these days? I gotta say, I usually tune in when I can. Anyways, what's going on with No Filter?
Yeah, well, the big news we have, Eric, is, I don't know if you've seen Bernsey on the Car Shields commercial.
I have. We've added him on our Upperable podcast. Like, yo, Bernsey, what's up these days? Anyways,
nice.
when I see him on my television screen watching a baseball game usually.
Yeah. So we have a great sponsorship with Car Shields. They sponsor our website. Deuces Wild and a lot of our social media stuff. That's the big thing. Rick Bucher has the best series of NBA podcasts out there, like absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. So make sure you check him out. Covers a lot of international basketball too, right? Like European League, how that's evolving.
I like that already.
Some exciting shows coming from possibly with Yao Ming. We're talking to Yao Ming and his people about getting Yao Ming to cover the Chinese market, which is going to be fun. And then we are hopefully, I'll announce it. I think we'll do something. But JR is talking about coming back on with Peelsy and Matthew Barnaby for former Buffalo Sabres great. To do a Snipes Stripes, playoff edition. And JR said we might call it Snipes, Stripes, and Fights.
I like that already. So, as I like to say, we have Joe Manuele break a lot of stuff. So be on the lookout for any of that stuff as well. JR, Peelsy, and Sabres legend, Rangers one-timer legend too, Matthew Barnaby, and Avs legend too, by the way.
Yeah.
And also Penguins legend too, by the way. So as we raise the roof,
he's a Buffalo Sabre, bro. Like
I know, but I had to name all of his teams anyway. So we get to raise the roof of Barnaby because
he's fun too. He's fun too. So yeah, we're trying to sort some stuff out with everyone's schedules because everyone's kind of like crazy busy. But we'll do some stuff, and then I'll likely do a little. So I do a Pepe's parlay betting show during the NFL season.
Yes.
And, which I love. And I might do like a playoff edition, like where I'll give you there's like in the first round, especially, there's like lots of games going on in the weekend. By the way, I have to say, I'm really, really pissed off that Montreal Tampa is Sunday afternoon at 2:45, which is a crazy Pacific 5:45 p.m.
Don't get me started on that.
Yesterday, by the way. It's like all the old fogies need to get home before it gets dark on Sunday night, right? Like
it's a blue hair special. We call that down in Florida, at least. Jesus.
Like after church, go to the hockey game and go home. You'll be home in time for the old fogey special at Denny's, right? Like what the hell,
Gramps, or be ready for the West Coast HBO shows at least. Come on, at least.
Yeah, exactly. So, but apparently there's some Mexican music thing going on at the arena on Saturday. So, so Montreal and Tampa are not playing one Saturday night, which is crazy. I think hockey night in Canada. So they don't have the Habs in Tampa.
Hey, I'll trade you one of those Saturday nights so I can go to one of those games for Flyers Penguins, because they're starting on a Saturday for game one anyways. Dude.
Yeah. So Trevor, let me ask you, what's your favorite? What's the one series, East or West? I know you're a Flyers fan.
Yes.
I know you've got an affinity to Dallas, but what's the one series you're like, man, I got to watch this regardless?
I want to see this Buffalo, besides the Flyers and the Star Series. I'm actually intrigued with the Bruins and the Sabres, by the way. Yeah. So I want to see if the Sabres team's for real anyways, and see if they can stop a puck also. That's why. And I also, the reason why is I have the Bruins in 7, by the way.
Yeah.
And I want to see what this James Higgins kid is all about, if he's going to have some magic like any of these other top 5 picks have came out from their 1 year of college and play in the NHL. So I want to see what this James Higgins kid is all about. I really like what Marco Sturm has done for the Bruins, and he's kind of changed. Sure. He's rebooted the team at least anyways.
Yeah, the Bruins are a little surprising, actually.
Yes.
That they were expecting this to be a rebuild year.
Mm-hmm.
And they've played really, really well, very well coached as well. I like Buffalo in that series, to be honest with you.
You're not the only one to say that, by the way.
So yeah, I like Buffalo in 5. I don't think it'll be close. I think they're going to roll over. Good outcome for the Bruins to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
They got Pasta. They got some good players. They got a solid defenseman. But
yep.
But ultimately, if you shut down Pasta, there's not much there, right?
No.
And
so these are my Eastern Conference predictions. I got Bruins in 7. I have Habs 7. I have Sens in 6, by the way.
Wow.
And I have Flyers in 7.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a Sens fan.
I just think Carolina's due. That's why.
I think Carolina loses in the second round like they always do.
Maybe, or the conference final at least.
If you're Rod Brindamore, talk about the pressure being on you now, right? But
what is pressure in Carolina? It's usually Bill Belichick and his football team right now for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, no shit.
Or their new basketball coach, Michael Malone, for the Tar Heels as well.
Like the Montreal Tampa thing, on paper, Tampa should win.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge Habs fan, so I'm not going to touch it. So I'll take your word on Montreal in 7. We need some magic with some of the kids, right?
I think you got to have them in the second round at least. I think if you get a Montreal-Boston series, this is the ratings of ESPN and TNT. Boom. Anyways,
totally. But I like Buffalo. I hope for Montreal. I love Philly.
Yes.
I love Philly. Just beating Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just too old in the tooth. I mean, I love Sydney, but Crosby's been injured, and you've ridden Malkin and Crosby enough now.
Yeah. Even though you have Erik Karlsson, it's like, hey,
it's time to move on, right?
It's time. It's a new angle to this rivalry because it's always Penguins having the younger team.
Yeah,
the rules are reversed, by the way. So
100%.
That's why. So I'm excited for this. Anyways, I cannot go to I'm hoping if they make the second round, I'm going to find a way to go. Anyways, so
I'm with you. Yeah. So I'm going to go Buffalo, Habs, wishful thinking, Carolina, and Flyers.
Alrighty,
I'm with you on that. And Carolina will go 6. I think I'll go a couple. Philly, Pittsburgh will go 7. Double overtime. It's gonna be down to the wire, right?
Oh yeah.
and some third line unknown guy is going to get the winning goal bouncing off his head or something.
Probably. Let's hope so.
Yeah, look, I'm excited, bro. Like, it's going to be so fun. And like, just as we start off on Saturday, 12 o'clock, I have a 7:30 tea time tomorrow, so I'll get home just in time for that Ottawa Carolina. I'll give you my first Pepe parlay picks. I'm going to go Carolina winning game 1.
Okay.
Go Minnesota winning on the road, and I'm going to go Philly winning on the road. So
I like it.
The Pepe parlay for the first 3 games. So
I'll see what it was pulls out on DraftKings.com. Anyways, are we doing money line? I'm guessing with this bad boy.
Yeah, money line those. Yeah. Don't puck line the playoffs.
We do not puck the line the playoffs in this bad boy anyway. So if you do Carolina, Minnesota, and Philly, that is a plus 650. And if you add
juicy, I like that.
If you bet $20, you get 150. But if you really want to do something about that, if you put like $100 down, they could be getting some money anyways. So
650.
There we go.
Yeah. All right, I'll do that. I'll fire that.
Fire it into the sun, Joe.
Take the missus to dinner on Sunday after
take the missus to dinner at a nice Bay Area steakhouse. How about that? At least
perfect.
All right, Joe. Sir. It's always good having you on. We'll talk next round. How about that?
Always a pleasure. Yeah, I was looking